Good morning, Form 5 to 7. I hope you enjoyed Monday's tennis lesson. Today I thought I'd bring you something a bit different, and we're going to do athletics and look at high jump technique. Obviously you're not going to be able to do high jump properly because you haven't got the mats and stuff, but we can still really work and emphasise on that technique, which will help when we get back to school and we have the mats. You should find it a lot easier to already understand the process that you'll have to take. For today, you will need an object that you can jump over. So I've got a mini hurdle, but it could be a box, it could be a stack of books, stack of DVDs, whatever you've got, and then 2 chairs and a piece of string. That will become clearer when you get to the challenge, but I just set out 2 chairs far apart with a piece of string, which I'll explain because it just gives us something to aim to jump over. First of all though, we're going to start off with a warm-up like we did the other day. So it's going to be the same format that you're going to do 30 seconds of each exercise, and you do it 3 times round. The first exercise is just jogging on the spot. So bringing these knees up in front, just light jogging on the spot. The next one you're going to do is high knees. So bring those knees up in front, a bit higher, so they come up in line with your hips. Okay, for after those 2 for 30 seconds, you're going to do a 1, 2, 3. So you do 1, 2, 3, hold that knee. 1, 2, 3, hold your knee. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You can see each time is a little jump over and hold. Okay, so that you're getting used to that light movement on your toes. And then the last one is you're going to do a squat down and lift a knee up. Squat and lift. Alternating each time, making sure when you squat, you go down to that 90 degrees to lift up, okay? Don't push your knees over your toes, push your bottom back, down and lift, down and lift. Each one of those exercises do for the 30 seconds, 3 times round before you move on to the first drills and coaching points. Okay, so as I said, today we are going to look at high jump. There are 2 techniques to get up over the bar in high jump. We have our scissor kick, which we tend to use first and is the easiest one to practice, and then we have the Frosby flop. Now the Frosby flop is the one that we can't do because you have to land on your back and we don't have the crash mats to land on, but we can practice this scissor kick, which will really help get us over those first few stages. And most people can normally do scissors up to about 1 meter high when doing the high jump. Obviously it does vary slightly on your height, but we're going to focus on how we can extend that height today and allow everyone to try and push themselves up over it. So we're going to look at the scissor kick to get up and over a bar, and there's 2 main coaching points for this. The first one is going to be your high knees. Okay, you need to drive your knee high to get up and over that bar, and it's always the knee that is closest to the bar and closest to the mat that we have to drive, and it's understanding how we can lift that hip, the difference between lifting it here to lifting it right up above hip height. Then the next coaching point we'll look at is how to gain the height and how to elevate ourselves up to push us over that a little bit extra each time. For the first coaching point, all you're going to need, now you can do this over a line, you don't have to use an object. I've got the hurdle, but this is where you could use books or DVDs. And you can see mine comes up to about halfway up my calf. You don't want it above your knee, no way, much lower than your knee, because we're just going to do a very simple exercise. If you haven't got any objects, but you've got a line on the floor, or you could put a towel down, or a skipping rope, or a rope from a dressing gown or something that you could use to jump either side of. And all you're going to do is drive with your knee up and over the object. You use the inside knee. So to start with, I will use the leg that is closest to the hurdle, and I lift up and I jump over, lifting both legs over. To go back, I then use the other leg. So I lift up and jump over, lift it up and jump over, and just continue doing this quite a few times around. So it should end up, notice how I'm using my arms to help elevate me up into the sky, and you want to keep trying to go back and forth and try and do it somewhere between 6 and 10 goes before you have a rest, so that you can really practice getting that elevation, jumping up and over. Like I said, if you haven't got an object, you can just do it on a line and just try and get a bit of height each time you do it. Okay, the next two bits about getting these knees nice and high, we're going to do really simply. You don't need any equipment for this, and you're going to try it on both legs. Everyone will have a more dominant leg, or most of you won't be able to do it as easily on either side. You'll have one leg that's stronger, but you're going to practice on both. And all you do to start with, so I'm going to step forwards with my left, and I elevate up with my right, a bit like a high skip. I step back and then I swap sides. So I step forward with my right, and I elevate up with my left. Step back, same again. And just one step. Step it forward and up, back, change sides. So step forward and up, forward and up. And keep having a go at these, just in one spot, 8 to 10 times on each leg, okay? You want to really focus on that, driving that knee up nice and high. So if I'm doing this side on, I will step and drive. Step back, step and drive. You should see, hopefully, that my knee is going up at least hip height, if not higher. So I step and I drive, okay? Step and drive. If I move back, I don't know if you can see from the light. Step and drive, step and drive. And this is really important for when we get closer to the bar and we're having to lift that knee up nice and high, but that we can also then start to incorporate that height by elevating ourselves up. Once you've had a few goes at that, we're then going to add a little bit more to it. So you're going to do a 3-step before you push up. Let me just move that hurdle out the way. Okay, and again, we're going to use both sides. So it doesn't matter which foot you start with. So I'm going to start by putting my left down, my right, my left, and then I drive my right knee. So this time I'll go the other way around. I go right, left, right, and drive. Notice how I use my arms to help lift, because your arms are really important when we're going to jump over the high jump bar, but your arms are up and out of the way. So again, I go left, right, left, and elevate. One last go. I go right, left, right, elevate with my left. Have a go on both legs, about 10 times on each leg, or until you feel comfortable. If you do it 10 times and you don't feel like you're elevating that knee high enough, then just keep going. And it's not about the jump with the other leg, it's about how high, 1, 2, 3, I can drive that knee up. How high can you lift it up above your hip height? The higher you can get it, the higher you will be able to get over the high jump bar. Okay, so we're now going to look at getting the height in our jumps. And there's a really small, easy phrase that we use to remember called toe knee, okay? You use your toe and then you drive with your knee. Now, my netballers, you'll know exactly how to do this one. Guys as well, boys, you might have done it in football especially, what we call our high skips. So it's progressing on from that knee lift, and we're going to try and keep it moving this time. So if I start back here, I'm going to go toe, knee, toe, knee, toe, knee, toe, knee. And then you could jog back, or you could do it back at the start. And you're going to get as close as many in as you can. Start a bit further away. Okay, and this time I am driving my knees up, but I'm also trying to get that height. I'm trying to lift myself. And you want to do about 4 going forward, then walk back or jog back and start it again. So and then jog it back and then go again. Using your arms to help lift up. That's really, really simple, but I want you to practice it. Each time you're jumping, you want to try and get that little bit higher. Next, you're going to use the hurdle, okay? Or this is where you have your stack of books or something that you need to have a height to aim at. I'm not going to jump over it, but I'm going to aim to get up to the height of it, or as near as. So, I put that down on the floor there. As I'm driving my high knee up, I want my other foot, so if I'm lifting up my right leg, because it's closest to my bar, my left leg needs to also come up the right height. And my foot ideally wants to come up in line or is close to in line with the hurdle. So you might want to step into it and do that high skip. Okay, step in and high skip. And see how high, then do 2 on the other side. How high can you elevate? Notice that I'm then jerking my knee up. My leg, that's my standing push-off leg, is not going to get off the bar if I keep it straight. I have to bring my knee up to it. But I also need to get that push from the floor by bending my knee to elevate. So, you might want to do then a few strides up to it. And you might want to jump as high as you can. Or if I use the other leg, I can lift it up. Try and set it up that you can get a few steps in, up to the point. So I'm just going to move that a little bit further away. Go back to the start. If you can, you ideally do about 5 steps. You might not get that many in. So you're just going to run forward and lift your feet up. Okay? Then make sure you try with both legs. So as I run forward, I'm going to lift those feet up to get us elevating over. If you're really, really struggling with that, go back to the up and overs, okay? And just then you're practicing on that height. If you're using books or DVDs or something that you can adjust the height, then add to it each time if it's getting too easy. If it started off really high and you're really struggling, take a couple away from it and then practice that height up and over. If you were using a line on the floor, have a look on the wall, or if you're inside, aim at where the base of the sofa or something is to try and get your feet up to that sort of height. Okay, so now for your challenge. I've got 2 chairs that are probably about 5 meters apart and a piece of string. You can make them further if you've got a longer piece of string, or a bit close together. If they're closer together, please be really careful that you're not going to kick one of the chairs. This is where you need to try out which leg is dominant and which one you prefer to, what we do call take off of. You can start the string as low or as high as you wish, and I started it just above where the handrail part on is because I know I can jump over that. I know that I'm dominant and I will take off with my left leg lifting up my right, so I will run from the right hand side as I approach and attack the piece of string. You could use anything here. If you haven't got any string, you could try and make something, or if you've got some of those curly ties, tie them all together. It doesn't need to be really taut, it's just to give you a rough idea. The challenge here is once you've had a go at a height a few times, can you move it up? And that's why I'm using the chair, because you can wrap it around the chair leg and you can move it up higher and higher and see how high you can get. You can also then get a tape measure and see how far you get. Obviously when you land, you need to land with soft knees and make sure that you're landing on your feet, not on your bottoms or your backs, because you'll really, really hurt yourselves. So if you are unsure and don't want to land on the grass, you could put a yoga mat, you could put a blanket, a couple of towels or a duvet or anything soft that you will step onto instead. So I'm going to start out to the side. I'm not going to start too far away, start quite close. I'm going to take a few steps up. Then when I get close to the string, I'm going to step up and over it. So, just like that. If you're unsure, you might want to also then try it from the other side. Now I can tell this won't be as good, but I will start from over here, run, step and kick over. Hopefully you can see, I'm going to demonstrate again, but watch my second leg, how high that also comes. So I drive with my inside leg, my knee high, and then I lift my second leg up nice and high as well. So my legs kind of go over the string in a scissor type action. So, try and keep them as straight as possible. If you end up bending, it doesn't matter. Obviously when we get back to school, we'll have high jump mats, we'll have something nice and soft to land on. So you have to kick high to the height of the mat, but obviously on this you're going to kick to the string. I'll show you one more time. Run towards, picking up and over. Go and have a go, see how high you can get, and if you want, send me in how many meters or centimeters up off the ground you managed to achieve.